Okay, so this particular training is about creating a page in Canvas and what are all the different utilities you can use in the rich content editor box. And so that's what we call the RCE. So I'm going to open up my Sandbox course here. And the rich content editor box actually displays all over Canvas. You see it in announcements and assignments, discussion boards, all over the place. So it's the same common box, but I figure if I teach pages alongside it, there's two ways you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. So you have pages available to you in all of your Canvas courses, whether or not you realize it or have ever really played with them. So Pages is down here in this particular class. And what it's meant to be is a way for you to create some dynamic content for students. So not necessarily anything they're going to be turning into you, but something that you want to sort of provide to them. A lot of people use a page as their home page in their Canvas course and sort of lay out the semester there. There's one way to do it. Others use it for like introducing certain topics. So like if I'm going to be teaching about, today you're going to be learning about my dogs, Weimaraners. Think of it like kind of like a Wikipedia page. There's text, there's images, there's videos, there's downloads, there's kind of all this stuff, but you're not really expecting to get anything back from the student. So we're going to create one together just about Weimaraners, and it'll also give me an opportunity to show you all the different things you can do in the rich content editor box. So create a new page. You absolutely have to give it a title. So this one is going to be on Weimaraners. And you have the same, this is the rich content editor box. The same box displays all over. I'm certain you're very comfortable with it. What's sort of annoying is that there are little icons and they're not really words. I'm more of a word person, like, you know, like this little handcuff icon to me is not intuitive that it means links. So the other thing you have to know is you can always find these also under the insert button. So if you're like, I just want to put a document in, use the insert button, kind of like Microsoft Word. You're sort of used to that anyways. So everything that you see along the toolbar is also available up there as well on the actual menu with words. Another thing to note about pages is by default, they're only being edited by the teacher, what the Canvas calls the instructor, but you do have the ability to let students edit them. So if you are trying to do like kind of a collaborative learning opportunity with students, and maybe you want them to like, you know, share resources they have in the same place, you could accomplish this with a discussion board, but you can also accomplish it with a page. So it's sort of, discussion boards can get a little unwieldy with everybody replying to each other. So a page might be a better way to do some sort of collaborative resource sharing if you want your students to edit it too. So it's something to think about. And then anyone would be if you have any observers in your class or TAs or things like that. But by default, it's only going to be you being able to create it or edit it. And just like anything else in Canvas, you can work on it in draft mode, which is what saving is. And then when you're actually ready to turn it on, you can publish or save and publish. So don't think that just because you saved it, it's immediately visible to students. You do still have to go that extra step and publish it because, you know, sometimes it takes a couple of days to build something. All right. So pretend this is a lesson that I want my students to read about Weimaraners. And I'm going to kind of run through the different utilities here. Obviously, these are the default font sizes for Canvas. They are designed to be the most readable by both humans and screen readers. That's why we have that font. But if you don't like it, you can change your fonts. You can, under format, sorry. Everything's never exactly where I am. So if you don't like this font, you're like getting kind of sick of it, and you decide Weimaraners need to be written in Architect's Daughter, you do have the ability to change the font style. So let's use that for fun. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that they do have the different levels of headings for you, which can be kind of handy if you're trying to like sort of outline the text on the page. So just keep those available to you. So like if I want to do like the heading 2, so the first heading is going to be Weimaraners. The heading 2 would be Weimaraner photos, whatever the case may be. And then when you come down, it immediately goes back to paragraph because it's expecting you to put some text in there. So you are going to learn about cute wines for fun. I don't think I need to spend too much time going over the different ways you can change your text, but bold, italics, underline, those are all the same. This is to change the color. And you can also change the highlight color. So it's sort of the background of it. And I actually kept the university's official colors up here in case you wanted to use the university's colors a little bit to add some consistency to your class. So I figured it was a good opportunity to show that as well. So if you're ever wondering like which shade of purple or shade of gray or melon or coral, I think we have a couple of different ones, are the university's official ones. You can always find those by navigating to niagara.edu/colors. Our graphic design team does a beautiful job of making these things available to you, and they're also available to help you. So I just want to plug that a little bit. We do have like the official typefaces, presentation templates, all that stuff here on this website, but particularly the color. We know we're purple and white, but what shade of purple is that? So if I'm working in here and I'm like, you know what, I want this text to actually be the official university purple, I can highlight it. I can choose the color drop-down button. It's not quite the university purple, so you can always change it by using the color palette here. And then you just put in the different RGB or the hex code, whichever one you want. They're right here for you. I think the hex code is probably the easiest because that's just a copy and paste. So just copy. And I just paste. I think I just have to take out the hashtag. I don't even know. And then I say save. And so now we know that that is the official university purple. So that's just an option for you. And then if you notice, it added it to your color palette. So like if you do like to do that sort of thing. So sometimes you can make it a little bit more personalized, kind of make your class stand out with the branding. Just as I am talking about the colors, we have our primary colors, our secondary colors, and then our tertiary colors. So then the whole palette is down here for you to see. So anytime you want to change a color, you can do the same thing with the highlight. You just click on that little palette and then you put in the hex code or the RGB code. Okay, so that's just for the different text elements. The last one is for subscripting, which would be common in math, perhaps. You can do superscripting or you can do subscripting just by clicking on the two, and you can go in between. So if you want the higher or the lower, if you need that for either one. I don't particularly need it right now, so I'm not going to use it, but just sometimes people don't notice that you can do the subscript and the superscript by just switching between the two. All right, and then the other things you have here available to you to put in some dynamic content is links. And links, I'm going to explain the difference between external links and course links. Probably can figure it out for yourself, but a course link would be like if I want to connect this page to a discussion board. I want to connect this page to a certain assignment. Those would be my course links. There's things that I've already created in this course and I just want to tie them together. I can click on it to see what I have available to me. In this class, these are all the things that I have that are linkable. So maybe it needs to go to a certain module. I can choose that. If it needs to go to a certain quiz, I can do that. So this is to put anything that's internal to your course in Canvas. That's what it's talking about when it says course links. You can also search too, if you're kind of like, I don't remember, is that an assignment or a quiz? What did I make? You can just search by its name. The other type of link is external links, which would be like a website that maybe you're navigating to. So let's try that one. I think I have a website for you. But I don't want to just like paste the URL in there. That looks kind of hokey in my opinion. So what if I say, click here to learn more. And I want click here to be clickable. I can highlight the text. I can navigate up here to links. It's an external one because I'm going to link them out of Canvas. And it's like, okay, well, where are you going? You just need to put in that website right there. So I have one off to the side here. I'm going to steal. And so I'll just paste it in there and then say done. What you'll notice is whenever you put a link into Canvas, be it internal or external, it kind of flashes yellow. And so that's how you know that that hyperlink is being added. And then if you're like, oh, that website doesn't work anymore, I don't want them going there anymore, you can just click on it again, and then you have the option to remove the link. There are a few link options sort of depending on what content is linked. So after you create it, you might check out what are your link options. This one, there's not really much, but sometimes you'll have things like embedding it or like loading it in a new tab or things like that. It depends on the website. But this one, and if it's a certain like PDF, you can have it just open. So I'll show you all that as we go through. But this one is just, they have to click it and it'll open a new tab automatically. The default is to link them out of Canvas to a new tab. Okay. But so anytime you do need to, you just click and then you can say remove link if you need to. All right, so that's the handcuff one, the links one. So again, internal or course links, external or course links. The one that looks like kind of like a mountain with a sunset is images. And if you click on the drop-down menu, you have a few different options for images here. Images, you could upload something that you've never put in Canvas before ever, and it lives on your computer somewhere. So that's one of the usual ones. And it can be one that lives on your computer, or it can be one that you have the URL to, if it's some sort of, like something like Creative Commons. Unsplash, I think, has a cost associated with it, so I don't really know it. I think it might be the like kind of the replacement for the Creative Commons. So I've never really used it much myself, but probably most often you're going to have the image on your actual computer, so you'll upload it. While I'm talking about images, PNG files works the best because they have a transparent background. JPEGs work great too, but just if you're kind of like, oh, should I save this as a PNG or should I save it as a JPEG? PNG files, like they have the transparent background, they look better on the internet. When you do put images on there, you do want to put in some alt text to describe it or mark it as decorative. And this is because we have many students who use screen readers, and so it tells the person using the screen reader what's in the image. You've probably seen that maybe on social media where it's like describing what the picture is for someone who can't necessarily see it, but uses a screen reader to visualize it. Or if it's just decorative, like maybe like a border around something, you can click this box that says decorative, and that tells the screen reader to ignore it. It's not anything that the user who's using a screen reader would miss out on by not knowing what it was. And then you have the option to embed the image, which is probably the most common because you want them just to see it, or you can have it link and then they link to it outside. I don't really know why you would want to do that. So let's do this. Let's upload an image. You're going to see pictures of my dogs. So if I click on here, it brings me to my file explorer. I'm already in my Weimaraners folder, but I'll just show you how I got there. So this is Beckett and Harper. And I can say open. Gives me the preview. I would describe this as two Weimaraners dogs wearing life jackets in a kitty in a child's pool. So that way, if someone is using a screen reader, they can kind of picture what it is. And then embedding the image means it will just load it right in there. Give it a minute. And then once it's in there, you can resize the image. So obviously this is way too big. I don't want necessarily them to see my patio that much. So if I click on it, I can get my little grab feet and then make it smaller. And it tells you what the other ones are. This one actually down. So if you're going to put up quite a few pictures in there, it's not a bad idea to arrange them in tables. So if I do that, for example, if I enter down here and if I want to put like 3 across, a table is a really nice way to accomplish that. And so since I need to show you tables anyways, go to insert, if I go to table, and like maybe if I do that, I do 3, we'll do 3 across with descriptions. I can cut this one. I think I can paste it. Usually you can. And put it right into the cells. And then I can put another one in here. So if I, you probably saw that I had a couple different ones. If I upload it, we'll do Grace Kelly's Weimaraner. I can spell. And load that one in there. And again, you can resize these if you want, and then you can put another one in if you wanted to. I think you're getting the idea of how to embed images. I'll do the last one. I'll just say it's decorative just because I'm not actually publishing this and in the interest of making it faster. I'll call this a decorative image, which tells the screen reader to skip it. And then you can always, if you're like, okay, I just want them to see the pictures across, I don't really want them to see the grid lines. Because I put this into a table, then I can actually do the table properties. Sorry, my Zoom controls are always like right in the middle of where I need to be. And then the border color, do white, background color, white, save. And that will get rid of your tables. And so it'll just look like a couple of images across the bottom. So this is for uploading images that are off of your computer and like have not ever been in Canvas before. You can also use the, put in another space here. When you click on the drop-down menu, course images is any images you've uploaded to this specific class. So maybe at the start of the semester, you put all your images like in a file or something like that. Then you'll be able to, if I click on course images, it'll pop out everything that I've ever put in this course before, which is probably, again, many photos of my dogs. Those ones I just put in, so those are up there. These are the goofy ones I've had. And then the other one is user images. If you're like, oh, I didn't put it in this particular course, but I know I got it on Canvas somewhere. User images is everything that's associated with me. And so this works really well if you're building like certain content for teaching, like I'm thinking like, scientific displays or models or things that you've done before. If I go to user images, this is everything that Rachael Rossi has ever put onto her Canvas account, which mine is going to be ridiculous because of all these trainings I put, but a lot of dogs and Monty the Eagle. So you can search through them and you can just click on it and it'll put you in there. So if I was looking for Monty, I can select him and you can see it's flashing, it's inserting Monty down there. All right. And then if you're like, oh, nope, I didn't mean to do that, you can just delete it on your keyboard or backspace. So that one covers how to do images and the different types of images that, depending on where you've saved or if you have to upload it cold. The next icon is about any media, which again, you can find under the insert tab as well, and you go under media. So they're the same. So if you prefer to see like the actual insert button or the icon, it's up to you. I'm starting to memorize them, but not always. And they work very similar to images. Uploading or recording means you haven't put it into Canvas yet. So we're going to do that right now. Course media would be it's already in this particular course somewhere. Maybe it's a video, maybe it's like a podcast recording or something like that. You've already put it into Canvas. We just need to link to it. Or user media is the same. You've put it somewhere in Canvas. We don't know exactly where, some other course, and you're trying to find it. But let's say we're going to upload or record. It's also no big deal if you upload stuff that you've already uploaded. We have lots of storage here at Niagara, so it's really not the end of the world. And if you're running short on storage, let us know. We'll help you out. But if you upload or record media, you're going to be presented with two options here. The one is that normal spaceship where I could like drag my MP4 file and just drop it right there. Let's see, I'm sure I have something I can put in. I don't want to put in something huge, but we'll take a video that here. I teach this in my 595 class. You can, so this is one that was on my computer, but I'd never put it in Canvas before. I can just put it, it's somewhere in Canvas, but and I can just import the media that way. And it's going to take a little bit longer because video files are obviously larger. So ultimately this will flash through and it'll show us a video. As long as I think it's not uncommon, especially for larger video files, to take some time to process. So you might see them, or you might see the first frame, or like this is showing you right now. It's going. It's just going to take some time. You can keep working and it'll work in the background as well. Your other option with media is to record yourself cold, which is nice to do if you are like maybe recording a welcome video or something like that, or teaching students how to use the record feature. So I haven't made the video yet, or maybe you don't have a video maker file on Canvas. You can also record as well. And if you are interested in making a lot of videos, we do have a new program called Canvas Studio, which we are testing, and we have separate trainings on that. So if you need help making videos, we have other trainings. But okay, for this particular one, if I'm just recording like a quick little welcome one, you can see as I'm talking, it's capturing the audio because it's just picking up the audio, but you can also start the webcam. I don't know which webcam it's going to take because I'm ours. So, I can choose. So I'm also using it for Zoom. Let me use the integrated one actually, so I don't confuse the programs. This will turn on that webcam and I can start recording. So if I start recording, like get the countdown, talk, welcome to whichever classes. You have the option to start over. You can keep the little ticker bar of how far you're going. And then when you're done, you can say finish. When you are finished, you do need to give it some sort of a title. This tends to be the biggest problem. So just call it welcome and some sort of a title. You can't leave the untitled there, otherwise it won't save. And then you can say save media. And this one will also take a minute to process, I'm sure. But I'm going to put that video in there as well. And again, if you don't like it, you can just click on it and delete it, which I probably will ultimately end up doing. So You can also require students turn in videos themselves the exact same way. So if you're getting a lot of like grainy cell phone camera videos, just tell them to record it in Canvas. They have tons of storage space, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. And it doesn't necessarily have to come through as a page. You can require it as an assignment too. So sometimes people just don't know that it exists. The other option is to record just your audio. If you're like, yeah, they don't really need to see my face, they know what I look like. Sort of like this podcast culture, like if you know that students are like listening to like maybe your lecture or something, like while they're talking or driving the car or something, you just don't necessarily need to see your face, they just need to hear you. You can record just your microphone. Delete that one so that doesn't live there forever. All right, so those are the media icon options. And then of course, if I had something in this course, I could just link to it, or if I had on my account somewhere, I could just link to it. All right. Next, we're going to talk about documents. Same idea. You can upload one that's not in Canvas yet. You can link to one that's already in your Canvas files for this particular course, or you can link to one that belongs to Rachael Rossi and exists in Canvas somewhere. So those all go there. I'll just upload one cold on Weimaraners. I'm going to click to upload the file. It's going to open my file explorer. I know it's my Weimaraner one. It's a journal article. Submit. And it's right down here. You do have a few different options again for this one. If I click on it, I can go to link options. And one thing with text, like especially like PDFs or any documents you're sharing with them, by default, it's going to be a preview and an overlay, but you can do the preview inline, which if I click this, you can have it expand by default. So I'll show you what this looks like, and then you can decide if you like it or not. So if I say done, this is kind of a big one. I'm going to save this in draft mode just so I can show you that before I move on to something else. This is kind of the ugliest page I've ever created, but look at my memories. So you can see your video. So this is what it looks like when it's expanded by default, is that this article just opens right for students and they don't have to download it and save it to PDF. They can just read it. Like it's, so that was that expanded by default option. You might also think like, oh no, they're scrolling through this. They can't necessarily get to what they need to. I don't want it. They have the option to minimize it for themselves. And they also have the option to download it for themselves. So, it's up to you if you like it or not. Okay, I'm gonna keep editing this one. It's still not published, thankfully. So I'll just run through that really quickly because I know I tend to talk fast. So what I did for that particular document is I clicked on the link after it was there, link options. I chose the preview inline and I said expand it by default. So it's always going to open for them. You can also uncheck it and then they can just do the preview and they pop it out or minimize it for themselves. You just might need to explain to them that's how it works. Done. Anytime you make changes to a link, you can tell if it took effect because it should flash yellow for you. So course documents would be if I needed to link to my files, if I pop that out. By default, it goes most recently added. But you can change this and you can change it to alphabetical. If you're searching for something in your files and maybe you have like 200 files in there, you don't necessarily want to look at them by date added, you want to look at them for alphabetically, you can do that. And you can also search as well. So these are things you've already put in this course somewhere, and you're just needing to link to it. And then the other one too is you can switch to user files, which again was anything Rachael Rossi put into Canvas somewhere. Which we don't want to go into that because I put things in Canvas all day long. So those are your sort of media icon tabs. You can link to different websites, images, videos, or audio files, and then documents. The little plug icon is for your any external apps you might have added. By default, university has Google Apps turned on, which you might use in your class, you may not. But at the course level, you do control what apps you add yourself. So some examples might be like a textbook companion website, maybe an app like Nearpod or Perusal. I know some are using certain types of your publishers, your textbook publishers apps might be there. So if you've added one to your course, because you control that, it'll link there too if it's able to. You can link to your apps. I haven't done it because I don't have any apps that I use in this class. So, but they do plug to your different apps if you've added them properly, and it's allowable in the rich content editor. And then the three dots opens more. And this is going to give you some more functionality for structuring the page, very similar to editing a Word document, like the left justified, center, whatever the case may be. If you're doing any bulleted lists, this is bulleted and numbered, and all the different options for that. Your indent and your reducing your indent icons show there. You can clear all formatting there, which is kind of handy. You can also do that under the format icon. Tables we've already talked about. Mathematical formulas, they keep growing, the mathematical equations you can type in Canvas. So I know math professors were quite frustrated that it was a very limited equation generator. As I understand, they keep every release note, they put a new educational script language. So if you haven't played with it for a while because you're a frustrated math teacher and what you're looking for wasn't there in the past, it may be there now. So it's not worth, so it's worth your time to just poke around and see about the equation generators, because they keep putting in more operators, eliminators, all that stuff. It's beyond me. And then the last one is the embed code, and I'm going to take some time to talk about that. Depending on who you're teaching and how comfortable you think your students are with what you're teaching, embedding videos might be a little bit easier than necessarily linking to them. I'm talking mostly about like YouTube videos. Some students have like filters on there, so they can't necessarily go to YouTube directly, but if it's embedded in the Canvas page, they can watch it. So let me show you what that means. So I have a YouTube video here on web writers. Shocking. So if I just go to YouTube and I paste in the URL, because I have it, well, you can watch all about living with web writers. Now, but if someone can't necessarily go to YouTube directly, or if you don't want them getting lost and wandering out of Canvas and onto YouTube, and then you've lost them forever because they're going to go down a YouTube hole, we've all done it. What I can do is I can take this YouTube video and just embed it in my page, so they stay in Canvas, lessen some distractions, and then if they have filters on their browser, it won't be as much of a problem. And so how you do that, coming back to my page that I've been working on here. Get some space. I keep putting random things on this page. Come on down here. So I want to embed the video right here. Maybe I've typed some text about it. You're gonna watch this video. The embed code is this one that looks like a cloud at the end here, and I think it's also under insert. I'm sure it is. Yeah, embed. And embed code, we mainly use it for videos, but you can use it for other things as well. So I go to embed. To generate it from a YouTube video, just because that's what I have up there, is go to share. These are all the different sharing platforms YouTube supports, and the embed code is right there. It's usually like this long paragraph stuff. One of the nice features about it is with the longer YouTube video, you can tell it where to start. So if you only want them watching like the first 3 minutes or whatever the case may be, you can put that in there. We have a few other things, for like player controls and privacy enhanced and all that stuff. But I usually just copy the whole thing. So you can click copy. It copies everything it needs. When I come back to my Canvas page, I can right click or just Control V and paste, and then say submit. It's flashing. So that plays right in there. So they don't have to link to YouTube. They don't have to actually go to YouTube to watch it. It's just embedded. So I'm going to go ahead and save this so you can kind of see what it's looking like so far. I'm sure it's a mess, but it can give you an idea of the different features you can use. So definitely all your different text, images, video files, YouTube videos you can embed. And so, like I said, a page is meant to give them dynamic content, right? Like, so this is just something they're supposed to like read through, and then you can link to any sort of submissions that you're collecting from them also. So if I wanted to link to an assignment or a quiz, like, okay, you've read all this, you've watched all these videos, you can then link to your course links for various assignments at the bottom if you want to, or wherever you want to within there. And then again, you have to, once you're happy with it, make sure you publish it. I do want to show just a few more things real quick though in the rich content editor. These ones won't take very long. But just a few things to note. These are the keyboard shortcuts if you're ever wondering what the little keyboard guy does. So these are just different ones to go to like your editing toolbars. Probably won't use it much. But the little dancing man with the 2 here, if you're curious what that means, this is our accessibility checker, and it's going to tell me that there's a couple things wrong with this page as far as accessibility is concerned. And it's going to tell me what's wrong with it. It doesn't mean I have to fix it. If I'm comfortable without it, I can. But it's telling me, okay, you have a table in here, even though I kind of hid the grid lines, it is still a table. I should have a caption explaining what's in it, and I should have a header in it. I don't have to pay attention to it, but if you see the little flags up there, it's worth reviewing just to see what the problems are. It's got a word count checker for you. You can switch into an HTML editor. So if you prefer to do your edits in HTML, you can do that as well. I'm not someone who likes to do them because I always screw them up. This will pop it out so you have more space to do your design work if you'd like. And I think I can just escape to put it back down, escape on your keyboard. And then the last thing I was going to mention while I was in here is you can add it to the students to-do list. So if you're like, okay, I want you to read this on a certain time, it puts it on the to-do list, so it's sort of more in their face that they can't just like browse past it, but there's nothing really holding them accountable. But if you're like, okay, on Friday the 1st at 1 p.m., I want to make sure you look at that. It puts it on their to-do list and on their calendars for them. So it's an option. You don't have to do it, but it's just a little bit more forceful in getting them to visit the page. If you make edits to it, you can always check the box that says content has changed and students will receive an email. But keep in mind that students do control their own notifications, so they may have turned off those notification emails. But I'm thinking particularly of any pages you might create collaboratively with your students. You might want them to know when something new is out there, so you can check the box and it'll send them a message. I'll save and publish it. Draft mode is pretty ugly. Probably pretty ugly in production mode too, but you can see what it's going to look like now that we've created it. So it's sort of like a Wikipedia page. You got your title, your headers, links to things, images. The videos play right in there, both the ones that I uploaded and the ones that I've pulled from YouTube. You can turn those on and off. You don't need to hear all of them. And then once you've created pages, where do you put them? You can put them anywhere. You can put them in a module, which I'll show you, I think is probably the most common place. If I go to a module and I add new content, maybe this is a Google Apps one. It's not really pretend, but I've already got all my modules created, so I want to put it in this one. I can do add, and then I can choose page. And it's right there for me, and I can add it to this particular module. And so those students are moving through it, they go through it. And pages is that little paper icon, like links are external, and then that's for pages. If you want some ideas on like how to make it, like maybe graphic design is not your forte, like it clearly is not mine, you can steal ideas from the Canvas Commons. I think often we forget that this exists, so I just want to remind people that it is there for you. So if you go to even just the home page, if I go to import from Commons, this accesses Canvas Commons. There's other ways to get to it too, but this is the way I just do it. And so this is everything that anyone who uses Canvas all over the world has chosen to share on their Commons. So they've created this content and they're willing to share it with others. So you can import it right into your class, and you can filter by pages. So if I go to filter, the zoom controls are always in the way, put pages. And then there's some that are like as templates. There's some that you can sort of filter by like, what grade level and all of this. And then these are different pages. And then you can click on them to take a look at like what it looks like. And then if you're like, yep, that's so it loads down here, like what it actually looks like. You're like, yep, I want that one. You can import it into your own course. So this biology one, the person was kind enough to give you, looks like different fonts and module breakdowns and things. So the Creative Commons is a good idea to kind of poke around and get ideas. You don't have to, but I think sometimes we forget it exists. All right, going back to my own course. Last thing I'm going to show you is very common. People will do their homepage as a page and put like, links to the modules, links to assignments, little images and things like that. And how you do that is once you've created a page, which I just did, where's pages? and I've published it. What you need to do is use it as the front page and set it as the front page. And then once you're done and you set it as front page, my home screen, you'll notice it still hasn't changed. Maybe it has. Yeah, no, it hasn't. So then I have to choose my home page. And from here, I'll choose the front page, which was Weimaraners, and say save. So if this really was a class on Weimaraners, I can make this my course homepage. As soon as students open my course, this is what they're seeing. So it's very often people will do that. They use pages to provide dynamic content on a particular topic, or to sort of lay out how they're going to how their course is to be navigated and move through. Okay, that was a lot of information. Is there any questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm going to stop the recording.